I think the key to being a successful entrepreneur is to have self-commitment and self-belief. I think more than anything else, because there are some poor products in the market that have been successful. They've been successful because of the persistence and the commitment of the entrepreneur that created them, invented them, made them happen. And of course, conversely, there have been very successful products that are and services that are, fantastic utilities, great improvements on things that were done in the past. Again, these have been driven and created and made to come to life as a result of the persistence and the commitment of the individual behind them. So more than anything else, it's about self-belief and the ability to go out and make something happen. And I believe, I just had a one-on-one with some of your leadership of tomorrow group, and one of them was saying that he's had this idea about 3D printing and so on. And I think, key to making that opportunity a success is his belief that he will make it a success. It is that self-belief that drives all the great creative endeavors in life, and business is no different. I had nothing to lose. I hadn't been to university. I've been in the workforce since I was 16 as a hi-fi salesman and then a runner in an advertising agency. So, stepping up the corporate ladder without the prerequisite skill set and academic qualifications was going to be more of a challenge for me. So I had little to lose. My friends were in university. I wanted to create something in my life. So with nothing to lose, I could throw myself off a cliff, which is sort of what you do when you start a business. You put away all fears of failure and throw yourself off a cliff and say, I'm going to make this happen. I don't know where it's going. I don't know. Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, used that analogy. He said, being an entrepreneur is throwing yourself off a cliff and building the plane to fly you to safety on the way down. And I think that, that's the truth. But with nothing to lose, I had nothing to lose. Now, your esteemed students here have more to lose. They have expectations of their own career progressions, and they have expectations that their families have set for them, given that they're already here, one of the best schools in the world. So I think that for them, there's a greater risk. But nevertheless, you have to believe, it's better to be in the arena fighting the lions than sitting on the sidelines eating popcorn watching. You've got to get out there and do it. And if you lose a limb, why is that a problem? You've lost a limb in the gallant fight against the lions. That with all the businesses I've started, when I started them, I had a certain view about where they were going to go. And that's not how it goes. It never goes like that. You're learning and you're navigating and you're finding the best go-to-market way to be a success along the way. The key is making sure that you're funded and that you can navigate that path and get to the point at which it reaches its sort of stable market opportunity and position. Because I could say today, I've got this great idea for a new name clip for conferences, but I don't know whether you as a conference organizer are going to buy those badges or those clips. I don't know what's important to you about the clips. Until you're in the market, you don't learn certain subtleties, and you will change things to get the thing right, whatever it is. It's a terrible analogy, but the idea is that there's no good time to wait until you start something. You just have to start it. You have to have belief and conviction and start it. Now, clearly, you have to have a good idea. You have to believe there's a market for it. You have to have certain things, but it will never go according to that plan. It will always be, you'll always be pushed one way or the other through the winds of economic circumstances, consumer desires and behavior, pricing, manufacturing, whatever it happens to be. But you navigate those when you're in the arena. You don't navigate those by watching. There is an entrepreneurial culture that's been engendered globally, that's been in America really since its constitution. America's always been about the land of opportunity, but in Europe, I think there's been less of that enthusiastic encouragement of entrepreneurial endeavour. When I started, when I went to see venture capital, which wasn't a really very developed market in those days, people were astonished when I walked in at the age of 20, 21, a young man, looking very young. I looked younger than that, and with this bright-eyed idea, they thought it was a joke that somebody of my age could consider starting a business. So I don't think that's the case today. I think a 20-year-old coming in with it is partly expected, certainly not unusual, and so I think that's one of the more difficult challenges I had was being taken seriously. I think the other thing was I was trying to position and pitch a proposition that was like selling products to Martians. I mean, I was trying to create a product that would be sold to people who had computers, and nobody had computers, that they would consume information electronically, and people didn't even understand what I was talking about. So I was trying to sell something that was so scientifically advanced that a lot of the sophisticated requirements for an investor weren't there. They didn't understand. I think that's changed a lot. I think the access to research and understanding about trends in technology and in other markets is far more prevalent. I think that investors are much more specialized, and I think that they understand much more about what they're investing in. I think they are more forgiving about entrepreneurs and their youth, and how to support them and supplant them with resources, mentors, capable executives, and so on. So I think there's a lot of things that have developed in the last 30 years that make quite a big difference to the infrastructure around an entrepreneur being successful. However, it doesn't take away the one key thing, and the one key thing is this: self-belief. Self-belief and desire to be successful, and those things come from within, and that's the thing I think that is the secret sauce, because you could have anything and make it a success. I could say to you today, I'm starting a fast food chain. You'll say, what sort of fast food chain? I say, hamburgers. I say, hamburgers? We have lots of those fast food chains in hamburgers. I said, yes, but mine's going to be different. It's going to be fresher. It's going to be faster. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. Now, can I make a success of that? Well, of course I can. There is a market for fast food hamburgers. We know that. Why am I going to make it different? Because of my self-belief. Because I believe that I can deliver a product that will be more attractive to the consumer than somebody else's. And that's something that's easy to determine, but the difference between me making a success or not is my own self-belief, my own personal ability to make it successful.